Hospital. Dr. Ramesh Poddar, Secretary CSSC, Mumbai. Dr. Bharati Kulkarni, Scientist G and Program Head of the Mother and Child Health, ICMR. Dr. A.C. Mishra, Director, Isha, and Dr. Sadhna Joshi from Isha. Thank you so much. We would now begin today's inaugural program with Saraswati Vandana by Swani Karandikar.
जय शारदे वागीश्वरी, जय शारदे वागीश्वरी, विधिकन्यके विद्याधरी, वागीश्वरी वागीश्वरी, जय शारदे वागीश्वरी। ज्योत्स्ने परी कांती तुझी, ज्योत्स्ने परी कांती तुझी, मुखरम्य शारद चंद्रमा, ज्योत्स्ने परी कांती तुझी, मुखरम्य शारद चंद्रमा, उजळे तुझ्या हास्यातुनी, उजळे तुझ्या हास्यातुनी, चारी युगांची पौर्णिमा, तुझी कृपेचे चांदणे, तुझी कृपेचे चांदणे, नितवर्षुदे अमुच्या शिरी, नितवर्षुदे अमुच्या शिरी, वागीश्वरी, जय शारदे वागीश्वरी, विधिकन्यके विद्याधरी, वागीश्वरी वागीश्वरी, जय शारदे वागीश्वरी। Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swani. Okay. I request Honorable Dr. Vivek Savji, Vice Chancellor, Bharati Vidyapeeth University, and all the dignitaries to pay homage to Honorable Dr. Patangrao Kadam, Founder, Chancellor, Bharati Vidyapeeth University, Pune, and also light the lamp along with all dignitaries. ले लो. Thank you, everyone. I would now request our director, Dr. A.C. Mishra, to welcome and felicitate the guests. So you want to first introduce?
Felicitation letter. Respected Dr. Sauji sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, other dignitaries on the dais, and respected many dignitaries of the dais, I welcome all of you to this beautiful campus of Bharati Vidyapeeth University and a small institute, research institute of this university, IRSA. We were expecting our management team, particularly Dr. Vishwajeet Kadam, who is the secretary of the society. He was to come, but due to last minute change in some program, he couldn't make it. He had to rush to the Karegaon and he went there. Dr. Asmita Jagtap, who is the executive of the director, he is expected to come, but he just messaged that it may be late, so you please go ahead and start the function. So we once again welcome to all the members, and this is a very interesting meeting of a society, and SNEHA society is something a wonderful concept. Means it is really come to think of a few people, means high knowledgeable people in a subject, they form a small group of society, and that society runs over the year for the cause of science. That is the rare. Normally we have so many societies for so many things, but rarely we see a society for the cause of the science. This is a unique society, so I really feel very grateful to those people who have nurtured, established it and nurtured it. But more than this, I will not be able to speak about the society because stalwarts and founder members of the society are all on the dais, and you will have opportunity to hear from some of them the authentic version of the society rather than an authentic version from me. I will speak very briefly about IRSA, being director of the institute for last 7 years practically. This is a very small institute, one of the constituent unit of the Bharati Vidyapeeth University. We have 30 colleges, and this is one of the college which was started in 2003, and officially it got sanctioned of the ministry in 2008. We are in multiple things. We are not for example, we have 4 verticals, I couldn't say. One very important vertical has been innovation in food, led by Dr. Hegde over the years. And he's very passionate about new food which should have nutritive value, and he has done a lot of work in that direction. We have a small group of people who are trying to authenticate adjunct therapies, which come from Ayurveda, homeopathy, or plant products, that how useful they are when they are used as in the main therapy, particularly in the cancer management, diabetes, obesity. So that group is quite a bit supported by Ayush Ministry, and also they have support from the ministry which are producing those products. But our flagship program is Mother and Child Health. We all feel very proud of this program because this program has given real visibility to the university and also, of course, institute, but to the university. And credit goes entirely to Dr. Sadhana Joshi, who single-handedly has made this to happen in a place where there's a lot of difficulties, but in that difficulty, she has found way to establish such a beautiful field. And I have no hesitation that mother and child field actually belongs to the medicos. This is a dominant field because there is a lot of medical aspect. Non-medical, establishing in a medical field, that is another something which is great, which very rarely you will find that making a place in the medical field, and she has been able to establish. She is absolutely devoted, and all of us, we all the time feel very proud of her. And she is a role model for younger generation, that how a single person can establish a beautiful field. And testimony of that she is being invited by almost all the funding agency for the funds. She has not to go, but she is invited to apply and she has to choose. She has, I think, nobody is here who has so many invitations to collaborate with diggers in the field who are well established and doing, but she gets invitation. This is testimony of her hard work, and I really congratulate her for her achievements. Very recently, we have established one more unit of virology unit. I was virologist. Wrongly, Dr. Lalwani pulled me here. So when I came here for some time, I was totally lost. I didn't know what to do. But then I thought that let me do something in my own field as well. I enjoyed what was being done, but I thought something more need to be done. And I was fortunate to get one of my colleagues, Dr. Vidyapeeth, who is one of the best scientists in the country in virology. She joined me, and we consciously decided that we will go in application science. We will not do basic research. We will concentrate on the applied research. And to some extent, yes, we have succeeded in it. Government of India supported quite a lot, and we have established a national center here for immunogenicity testing. And I am proud to mention that center within, just after establishment, if pandemic came up, and we were busy when whole university was closed, we were night and day running around, getting the samples, getting the virus, because we had hardly anything. But in very short period, we could establish a lot of tests, and which were recognized, accredited by following the ISO standards. And Government of India posed a lot of faith on us by giving very significant amount of funding, which is rare for private universities. But we also came up to this. Most of the vaccines on the COVID, which came up in this country, we had a role to play, because when the vaccines went into clinical trials, final clinical trial samples were sent to this lab, and we acted as central laboratory, provided the data, which was the basis of the approval of those things. To look at it, how government also recognizes us that it could have taken many more months, we could have been behind if this institute was not existing in the production of the vaccine. So it was a really matter of pride for us. But for all this, as I said, it is a very small institute. We are 10 or 12 scientists and total 30 or 40 regular staff. But we work with more than 100 people, because most of the people on the project. Most of my scientists have very good programs, projects, which they have been funded heavily by ICMR as well as DBT. Dr. Sadhana Joshi, I forgot to mention, she runs the center, ICMR center, what is called, Center of Excellence given by ICMR, and in this field. And this virology program was funded practically by DBT, huge, and DBT also continues to support us. But besides that, management gave us a lot of support, because in this setup, it all depends what you can do on the management. I'm really very thankful to the management, Dr. Vishwajeet Kadam and associates. Of course, I should not forget that any such function when it comes, we always remember our founder, Sir, Patangrao Sir. Because when university was very young, it was just 4 or 5 years old, he had a vision to establish 3 research centers, and one of that is this. And these research centers don't do any teaching, don't do any earning. They only spend the money. So his vision, we have to appreciate that at that stage when he needed so much money for other things, he established research institutes like that. And that legacy continues. Because our current secretary, he is also very, very dynamic. Unfortunately, he is not here. And I often get tempted to describe him. When we were trying to look into virology, it is very money-intensive area, because it is not simple research, population research. A lot of money is required. To get money, first we should have something. We were having nothing, so we had to start. So I talked to many colleagues that I want to have a lab, and it will cost something like 3.5 CR. And then they said that Mungeri Lal ke sapne dekhna band karo. It is not possible in these places, and you cannot do it. I just took out, got his phone number, and I sent him one SMS, just 2-line SMS, that if you, sir, provide us 3.5 CR, in 1 year, maybe that we will be able to get equivalent fund, or it may take 2 years. In 1 minute, he sent me a message, approved, go ahead, and get work started. And next day, work started. This is the rarest of the thing which you will find. So that kind of ability this management has to take decision, and which can surprise you many times, which can astonish you that one can do. So here we can do anything and we cannot do anything. So that is the kind of situation. It depends upon you that how you can put yourself into the field. We have Honorable Registrar from the administration. He is very critical, but he is very helpful. He asked me that you are asking for money, how much time you will take to return me the money? Very first day. I said, I also don't know whether I will be able to return, but it is up to you to take a call. But anyway, everything worked well. So current management as well as past management has supported this place like IRSA, like anything, and that is how with a very small institute we have been able to make our presence felt. And today I am proud that this is one of the best research institute in the country, not only in private sector, particularly virology. There are very large institutes. I was director of NIV for 10 years, where we have funds and funds, but we can match any institute in the country with our resources and in our achievements. So with these few words, I should not forget Dr. Lalwani, because he is Sankat Mochan for us. With every support we have, sometimes we get stuck and it is situation of ICU. So he is a specialist. He will not let us reach to the ICU and he will resolve our problem. Any problem which cannot be resolved, he is there to resolve. And that with confidence, even if you message, job is done. So thank you, Dr. Lalwani, for supporting us all the time. And with these few words, I stop here. Once again, I welcome you all here. And I wish that these 2 days will be very fruitful. And for young colleagues, I will say, please listen. You will never get such opportunity in lifetime to hear the people who are here and the type of discussions which will follow. So you are lucky that you have this opportunity, utilize it. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would now request Dr. A.C. Mishra to felicitate our Honorable Dr. Vice Chancellor, Dr. Vivek Saoji. I would now request Honorable Dr. Vivek Saoji to felicitate Professor Caroline Fall. I would now request Honorable Dr. Vivek Saoji to also felicitate Dr. Yajnik. I request Dr. A.C. Mishra to felicitate Dr. Anand Pandit, KEM Hospital. I request Dr. A.C. Mishra to also felicitate Dr. Ramesh Poddar from Mumbai. I request Dr. A.C. Mishra to felicitate Dr. Bharati Kulkarni, ICMR, Delhi.
Before she moves further, I apologize. I forgot to mention a few names which I must have mentioned, otherwise I will repent. First one thing, Dr. Saoji, he has supported us greatly when he was principal of this place for many years. And that was my beginning when I came here. And I got such a fantastic support for him that I continue to stay here. And Dr. Kulkarni, who joined ICMR after we left ICMR, I welcome her. She is a program officer of Mother and Child Health in the council headquarters. And her support is very crucial for the program, not only to this place, but all over the country. And Dr. Anamika Gambhir, who has joined us from DBT, she is offline, but she is available to us. Thank you, Anamika, for joining, and we welcome you also for this program. Thank you very much for joining. So with these, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Professor Caroline Fall, Emeritus Professor, University of Southampton, UK, to briefly describe us about DOHaD.
Dr. Saoji, other distinguished company on the dais here, SNEHA friends, much appreciated invited speakers for the meeting, students, clinicians, gate crashers, you're also most welcome. Thank you for this meeting, Sadhana. Looking forward to it very much, and I'm very glad to be here. Sadhana asked me to explain DOHaD in 5 minutes. Well, since it's been my life's work for the last 30 years, it's somewhat difficult. But I made the notes on a very small piece of paper to remind me not to speak for too long. So the SNEHA Society is focused completely on this concept of DOHaD. What does DOHaD mean? Well, we know it means developmental origins of health and disease, but what does that mean? If you ask the man on the street what causes common diseases, they'll say, oh, it's your genes, and perhaps your lifestyle and the environment that you live in. So if you take type 2 diabetes, we know that's caused by a collection of particular genes. We know obesity is important, sedentariness, not getting enough exercise, an unhealthy diet. But we now also know that there's a third factor, a very important factor, and that's DOHaD. How you grew up and what you experienced in the very earliest stages of your life. And the history of DOHaD goes back about 30 years, when Professor David Barker, who was Professor of Epidemiology in Southampton in the UK, made the discovery that people who had a low birth weight were more likely to suffer from a whole range of diseases in adult life. And he also discovered that maternal undernutrition was a risk factor for these diseases. And he came up with the proposal that nutritional deficiency during fetal life and during very early childhood, through their effects on the development of key tissues and organs of the body, made you more vulnerable to develop chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, kidney disease, mental illness, lung disease. And this was considered quite a ridiculous idea at the time, but a huge amount of work since then means that we now know that there is this critical period from the time of conception or even before conception, through the pregnancy, through fetal development, and through the first few years of development postnatally, when our systems, body systems, are developing so rapidly that they are easily affected by the environment. And therefore, if the environment is adverse in any way, if the mother is undernourished rather than well-nourished, if she is stressed rather than nurtured, if she is exposed to toxins, then this can throw a very long shadow on the life of that fetus because of the damage done to key organs. The corollary of that being that if that early environment is correct and right and optimal, then this can have a major impact on preventing diseases that we think of as adult diseases. And this theory has had a big impact on thinking and the importance of nutrition in early development as a way of preventing chronic disease. The hallmark of the DOHaD field is that in order to understand how this process happens, we need to have scientists working in many different fields. So we need fetal physiologists, obstetricians, pediatricians. We need molecular scientists who understand the mechanisms whereby this is happening. We need animal modelers, animal researchers. We need trialists. We need epidemiologists. And ultimately, we need policymakers. And from its very inception, DOHaD has been fantastically multidisciplinary, and a really good DOHaD meeting, which is really going to be productive, brings all of these fields together. And I can see in front of me in the SNEHA group all of these fields and disciplines represented. And it has become a convention that all of those disciplines speak and deliver their data in a way that is understandable to the other disciplines. And I think this is one very unique feature of the DOHaD field and of SNEHA. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is my 5-minute synopsis of what DOHaD is. And I would like to echo the thanks to Sadhana for assembling such a wonderful collection of speakers for this meeting, and very much looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request Professor C.S. Yajnik, Director of Diabetes Unit, KEM Hospital, to introduce us about SNEHA India.
Okay, good morning, everybody, all the dignitaries and all the friends. I think I'll do what I can do best, that's tell you the history. And SNEHA was born, in February 1991, on a morning when I received a phone call from the head of medicine in KEM, Dr. Farooq Wadia. And he said there's an English professor and his student, that's David Barker and Caroline, who are talking about placenta, diabetes, etc. Can you deal with them? So I said, okay. And then actually we arranged a meeting, and we met in Kurus's office. And within 5 minutes, I think that was a eureka moment for me. I was again very much into obesity, diabetes, genetics. And David Barker showed me a figure from his paper, which was going to be published in BMJ, which was again Caroline's PhD work on Hertfordshire, which showed that lower the birth weight, higher was the risk for diabetes. This was a complete U-turn for me. And in a minute, I realized what fools we had been. I was trained in Sassoon Hospital. I was registrar to the professor. And I was treating hundreds of diabetic patients on the ground floor. That was the most populated specialty clinic. And the 4th floor was the labor room. And every day they were delivering at least 10 to 15 low birth weight babies. So I told David Barker, okay, for me, you have connected the ground floor of Sassoon with the 4th floor. And that, I think, in single sentence really summarized what happened that day. So I actually told David Barker that day the story of Abhimanyu. How Abhimanyu learned how to enter the Chakravyuha while growing in mother's womb. And whether he admitted or not, I know he started believing his own theories much better after that. So Caroline pushed him into believing that. And then second thing which I did, I can take credit for it, Caroline is the witness. He has suggested the term thrifty phenotype to him. Because I told in diabetes world, we are weaned on the term thrifty genotype. And what you are telling us is the thrifty phenotype. And I think, yes, it came to be called thrifty phenotype. So we decided to do research together. Caroline sent invitation to Anand. Anand went to Southampton. And he came back quite excited. He said, Ranjan, we must do this. And therefore, we decided to set up the Pune Children's Study. We all went to MRC, we went to Wellcome Trust, there was Mary Phillips, and she helped us to actually get the first grant. So Pune Children's Study was born, which was a collaboration between 2 KEM units, pediatrics and diabetes, and Ashish was one of the first medical officers. I also fought on behalf of Umesh and Ashish to increase their salary with Anand. So yeah, remember that, yeah. So that is how it went, and first paper was published in 1995. Anand had so many connections in the field. He involved Ramesh. Without Ramesh, now nothing could have happened, because he sort of found the acronym SNEHA for our organization, Society for Natal Effects on the Health of Adults, and only Ramesh can do this. So he actually found this term. Then we started spreading, and what Caroline said as multi-specialty, various people started coming in. There were cardiologists, there were ultrasonologists, there were nutritionists, Shobha Rao, then people from All India Institute, people from Vellore really gave it a push, and all sorts of people came in so that it became what it is today, a multidisciplinary, self-appointed, friendly society to take the science of DOHaD further. It has progressed quite a bit. Yeah, I must also say it's the oldest society for DOHaD in the world. Even the International DOHaD Society came many years later, and I suspect actually success of DOHaD pushed David Barker to form the International DOHaD Society, and he was very grateful for it. One another thing which David Barker which struck me first day is he was very clear in his mind. He had come to Pune because he had attended a preventive cardiology meeting in Delhi, where I think people really didn't believe or didn't want to believe what he was saying. And he told me that they think they know about cardiovascular disease, there is cholesterol, there is smoking, there is blood pressure, and there is obesity. And they don't want to look backwards. And they are very happy to only actually treat this condition at the end stage. So David Barker had that great vision, foresight, that things were going to be discovered in India, because that time I think he knew, but what I didn't know was India was going to be the world's double capital of the two things. One is we are a double capital of early life undernutrition. We give birth to largest number of low birth weight babies. Under 5 undernutrition is rampant still, and at the same time, we are almost there to be the capital for diabetes. So that is SNEHA. It's a fantastic organization. We remember all old meetings starting from Duke's sort of retreat in Lonavala, then to various fancy places, then Goa and whatnot. And all the while, science and dedication to this science was really important. And being Indians, I think we had no difficulty understanding the effect of mother's health on the effect of the baby. So there was a cultural background to it. So I think that's what SNEHA is, and thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. I now request Dr. Bharati Kulkarni, Scientist G and Program Head of Reproductive and Child Health and Nutrition, ICMR New Delhi, to share a few words on ICMR initiative towards the DOHaD research.
Good morning, everyone. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Sadhna Joshi from Irsha, who is the organizer for this 22nd SNEHA annual meeting, for inviting me to be here. I bring with me the greetings from Director General of ICMR and Secretary, Department of Health Research, and entire ICMR family to this meeting. And it's an immense pleasure to be among all the friends of the SNEHA, which is a very vibrant group of researchers. We are all concerned about the ongoing nutrition and epidemiological transition, and the recent comprehensive national nutrition survey data show that more than 10% adolescents at a very young age have pre-diabetic elevated blood glucose levels, and it's a very immense challenge for the policy and public health programs. And the understanding of the developmental origins helps us have interventions for primordial prevention of these chronic diseases. improving the health and nutrition of mothers and children has always been a priority for Indian Council of Medical Research, and also particularly the cohort studies. ICMR has over the years funded studies through intramural and extramural mechanisms in this sphere. For example, National Institute of Nutrition in Hyderabad, right since 1970s and 80s, have conducted cohort studies to understand the impact of early life nutrition on later growth, physical work capacity, as well as health during adulthoods. Currently there is a long-term ongoing cohort at National Institute of Nutrition, which is a follow-up of Hyderabad Nutrition Trial, and it's currently running in the acronym of APCAPS, Andhra Pradesh Children and Parents Study. Apart from this intramural research, ICMR has funded various extramural projects, right from the New Delhi birth cohort, some of the early studies, and Vellore birth cohort, some of the early studies which were supported by ICMR, and recently concluded the revamp study at Irsha, which was a center of excellence supported by ICMR, has resulted in improving our understanding in early biomarkers for identifying preeclampsia, which is a major cause of maternal mortality and neonatal morbidity. We are very proud of the achievements of the revamp study, which has not only generated excellent scientific output, but also capacity building of young researchers and students. So ICMR's focus would continue to be in the area of improving maternal and child health, and also the developmental origins of health and research. But more and more ICMR would focus on the discovery, development and delivery aspects of the research, with relatively less focus on pure description. So once again, I congratulate Dr. Sadhna Joshi for hosting this group of SNEHA, which is really a treat for scientific learning. And I'm sure all the participants of the meeting would thoroughly enjoy and learn from this meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. I would now request Dr. Anamika Gambhir, who's present online. She's Scientist G Program Head of Maternal and Child Health, Department of Biotechnology, Delhi. She's via Zoom, she's available with us. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, Dr. Sadhna and Dr. Chandak, and Dr. Yajnik for introducing me to DOHaD and SNEHA years ago. My greetings to all the eminent people present on the dais and sitting in the audience. I think I have the screen share option, I would like to share a brief presentation with you all, just to get a glimpse of the research that DBT funds in the mother and child health arena, and just to reach to a larger audience, just to use this opportunity. Just one second.
We have a screen there for the audience. Yeah, it's going to be a very short talk.
So is the screen visible?
Ma'am, 1 second. No, not yet, but it's loading.
Is the screen visible?
Ma'am, it's still loading.
Okay. So in the meanwhile that it is getting loaded, let me just bring to you flavor of what DBT. DBT funds for DBT is Department of Biotechnology. Most of the Indian researchers would know, and it funds in diverse areas of biological research, be it agriculture, energy, livestock, health has been a major focus area for DBT. And DBT over the years has been responsible for creating an enabling ecosystem, for innovative research across our country. And this research, which is driven by the societal needs. So sensing that there is a dedicated need for a mother and child health division, not very far ago in 2012, this dedicated division of maternal and child health was created by DBT. Is the screen visible now?
Not yet, ma'am. Can you please share it once again?
Okay.
Maybe you can disconnect and connect
Okay.
the screen again.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Now we can see.
Now you can see. I'm not able to move my slides now. What's wrong with it? So anyhow, just 1 second. Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, can you do the full screen?
Yeah, so the slides are moving now. I can see that. So, so DBT in the area of women and child health has been supporting both basic research as well as
Ma'am?
application-centric
Hello,
discovery.
ma'am. Sorry to
And
interrupt. Ma'am, can you please?
hello,
Hello, ma'am. Can you please do the full screen?
just 1 second. I'm afraid if I do the full screen, it stops moving, but let me try it again.
Ma'am,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay. So, so basically, the broad areas under which DBT is supporting is the various complications during pregnancy and studying the detailed mechanistic paradigm. Do a deep dive as far as science is concerned to understand preterm birth, stillbirth, IUGR, autoimmunity, all these aspects better. Then fetal growth and development, where, looking at premature birth, abnormal birth, stillbirth, congenital anomalies. Then gene dysfunction leading to the early developmental anomalies. In fact, later on, the program was rechristened to include a wide array of health issues which are specific to women, to be later called as women and child health. So now the division is supporting everything, all the problems specific to women, from MENARCH to menopause. And as in all DBT programs, novel tools of prediction and disease detection, they always hold an important place, and we support programs in a big way. Model systems are important in any area of research, and they are also being funded under this program. So majorly, the major areas that DBT has been supporting over the years, we've been supporting on reproductive biology and other health conditions associated with women's health. And then major comprehensive programs were launched for studying preterm birth, neonatal sepsis, and more recent, and there've been some studies on the DOHaD aspect as well. So DBT has been funding in 3 different modes: in the competitive mode, wherein proposals are sent by PIs and then they are reviewed by a specific task force and then given out. Then there are certain big network comprehensive programs which are developed by DBT in a top-down mode, recognizing the disease burden and the need for the country. So I'll just give you a brief flavor of what are the big programs, networks that DBT has funded. So this is one program that many of you would know about, the Garbhini platform, which was actually created for studying preterm birth to risk stratify women very early in their pregnancy on their risk of having a preterm birth. And this program has, today a very well characterized and phenotyped biospecimen repository of over 1 million specimens, and an imaging repository which has about 6 lakh images. So through this program, for the first time systematically in India, we have been able to document the rate of preterm birth, stillbirth, small for gestational age, and the comprehensiveness of Garbhini. It invited multiple global collaborations wherein these agencies approached the investigators for collaborating. One such consortium is the MUMI consortium, which is multi-omics for mothers and infant. Then we joined hands with the University of Oxford for developing point-of-care ultrasound tools using these images that were generated in the Garbhini platform, and very recently the JIPA consortium. So these are some of the major findings that we have had through this program. We now have a dynamic prediction. We are trying to have a dynamic prediction model for preterm birth to help the clinicians in their decision making. And we are using AI-based tools and approaches to develop this kind of model to, use all the detailed epi data and the multi-omics data that has been generated in the program. So this program has also created pregnancy dating tools, and which are specific to the Indian population, and they are more specific than the commonly used headlock formula. Similarly, there have been outcomes in terms of telling us what the gestational weight gain has been in our population, and the study is still going on. So the children that are born in this cohort are being followed up now for about 10 years, and detailed documentation would be done on the childhood growth, neurodevelopment, metabolic status, etc. So this is another cohort which DBT had funded on nephrotic syndrome. And this cohort also is across geographies in our country. And we've had 1450 enrollments. And the major story that this is telling us is there is a monogenic cause for nephrotic syndrome in 83% of patients. And this repository we are in the process of inviting more research questions which can be answered using the samples which have been stored in this repository. So similarly, because international collaborations are a useful way and, for adding credibility to the evidence that you are generated. So this Healthy Consortium was also joined by DBT India, and Dr. Kumaran, I think he would be here with the entire team of Healthy India. And this is a consortium of 4 countries, Canada, China, South Africa, and India, and which is being coordinated by WHO. So there were other DOHaD-based studies that DBT funded for the PRIYA program. And the 2 major programs that we funded for the Pune maternal nutrition study. One was for understanding the molecular mechanisms of fetal programming, and the other is for studying placenta function, fetal growth. So this is another important program that DBT launched because in addition to preterm birth, the second major cause for childhood mortality was sepsis. And we were told, we were being approached by different clinicians who would tell us that we still do not know, what is culture negative sepsis and why some children who have got a heavy burden of, who have a heavy microbial load, they survive the sepsis, and there are culture negative children who do not survive sepsis. So we do not understand this whole gamut. So we need deep biology studies. So following up with them, a comprehensive program, which is, multidisciplinary and multi-institutional, this was launched to answer some of the context-specific questions on transmission dynamics, which is also, endeavoring to know genetic variations, innate immune markers. Metagenomic studies are also being done under this program. So far, this program was funded about 2 years back in the COVID time, and we've already enrolled over 1,000 mothers and 1,500 neonates. So these are some of the other cohorts and repositories that DBT has funded. One is the Indian chronic kidney disease cohort, where again we've got samples and new studies will be initiated into the samples collected in this. Then SLE, systemic lupus erythematosus. This is also a nationwide collection wherein we have a useful biorepository now. And in the second phase, important questions are being framed to answer using the biorepository. Similarly, we have a consortium on celiac diseases. These are some of the other cohorts and repositories that DBT has. So in the neuroscience, we have a cohort for stroke and cognitive decline and a dementia science program. These are two ongoing programs where we are in the process of recruiting patients. So these are some of the COVID-related repositories that DBT has funded in different institutes across India. And these are open to researchers. Whoever wants to answer a novel question can approach any of these repositories. So that's all as far as the maternal and child health area. This is broadly what we fund. And basically, the thrust right now is to use these cohorts and biorepositories for answering some more useful questions, getting some more hypotheses tested. And we are also in the process of having, to have a policy center in place, which is interministerial, so that the evidence that is being generated in large cohorts would go into policy making. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I now request Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Vivek Sahuji to address the audience.
Dignitaries on the dais, Professor Caroline Fall from the University of New Southampton, UK, stalwarts like Dr. C.S. Yajnik, Dr. Anand Pandit, Dr. Poddar, Dr. Gupte, some of the very senior scientists present here, Dr. Kulkarni from ICMR, Dr. Mishra, Dr. Sadhna Joshi, the invited guests, resource faculty, scientists who have come from different places, friends, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, on behalf of Bharati Vidyapeeth and Bharati Vidyapeeth University, I extend a very warm welcome to our distinguished guests and the resource person in this campus of Bharati Vidyapeeth and for this very important meeting. Well, I am a little odd person out here. Neither am I a scientist or a researcher, but in the capacity of the head of the institution, head of the university, what is our vision and what is the way forward, that is something which we really would like to share. And importantly, I think IRSHA, that is our Interactive Research School for Health Affairs, is how it is contributing to the growth and fulfilling the vision of our university and vision of our founder. That is something which we really are proud of. Since we began on the little historic note as to how the DOHaD started and how SNEHA started, so how IRSHA started, Dr. Mishra said, but I was in the medical college then, and in one small corner of medical college, Dr. Ullas Wagh came and he said we should do something as far as this research is concerned. And I think in those early days, I think 1998 or around 2000, I think as a clinician, we were involved in patient care. As a surgeon, I was involved. No, I mean, research was all Latin and Greek to us. But I think Dr. Ullas Wagh, his perseverance, Dr. Karandikar then, and some of the, Dr. Vishwajeet Kadam and the management helped. And I think from that humble beginning, today we have this 6-story building which is there. And yesterday only we had a meeting with the secretary, and since now they are doing a lot of work, so additional 2 floors sanction has been accorded for the expansion of this. So I think uh, one has to be courageous. One has to have a conviction that, well, yes, if we're on the right path, then I think we need not get bogged down by the circumstances, and that courage and conviction which our honorable founder had, which some of the leaders sitting here have, and that leads to taking the field forward, whether it is DOHaD, whether it is SNEHA, whether it is IRSHA. So these are the examples. And for my young friends here, what I would say is that this courage and conviction is very important, and we need to follow those instincts. And I'm sure if we follow them, I think we will reach somewhere in due course of time. Actually, I must compliment Dr. Sadhana Joshi for the wonderful work she is doing in this area. And she is really, I know her from day one, and her commitment and dedication to the cause is, beyond any doubt. And I think she just doesn't come in the limelight. She always works in the background, and I think she lets her work speak than probably the words. And I really appreciate your contribution, and we are really grateful to you. Since Dr. Mishra has come, I think he has taken IRSHA to the newer levels. In fact, he is humble person again. Just about three days back, we got some significant grant of around 20 crore rupees for some research in virology, and already a couple of big projects. In fact, I was amazed around 15 days back when I came to IRSHA to see the new BS3 lab, which is there, probably one of its kind in the country. So I was amazed to see this facility on our campus, probably the only university or academic institution to have similar facility. So congratulations to you, sir. We are really proud of you, the work that is being done in IRSHA. And if there is anything that we can contribute from the university, that is the least that I will say will help in taking this IRSHA and I think establishing the culture of research in this organization. Again, as has been mentioned, the honorable founder, Dr. Patangrao Kadam, had the vision. I mean, it was not just about the educational institutes, but the research institute. He knew that it's the research that's going to be giving the recognition to the organization, and that's how these three research institutes in pharmaceutical sciences, social sciences, and this interactive research school in health affairs were established and ably supported or aptly supported. And today we are seeing the fruits, and we are on the path of growth and on the path of new developments which are there. So again, thanks to our supporters, our well-wishers. I think DOHaD, SNEHA, they are all wonderful programs. IRSHA also is having, Dr. Mishra briefed about some verticals which are there. One of them, of course, is maternal and nutritional health, virology. He himself being in virology, he is taking that forward. Dr. Hegde, the nutritional part is also being expanded, and also it's something like benefiting the ground, helping the translational part of it. And there's a lot of good work happening. I would just want to say one or two things that as a faculty, we are Bharati Vidyapeeth University is a multi-faculty, multidisciplinary university. It is one of the largest deemed to be university with around 24,000 students, 1,800 odd faculty, and we have disciplines right from health sciences management, health sciences, that is all, everything in health science, medicine, modern medicine, Ayurveda, homeopathy, pharmacy, then the other allied health sciences like optometry and audiology, and other specialties like management, law, technology, environmental sciences, and many others. The point is that I think we have so much of potential, but we are not doing or exploring so much in research, excepting for some of these islands which are there. So we really need to think little bigger, think little different, how we can work together, how these different multi-specialties, multidisciplines can work together and we can produce some wonderful research outputs which are there. The new education policy talks of integrating, or for that matter, holistic education, integrating the pathies and working together. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity in front of us, and if we start early, then we will reap the benefits. If we are just behind the bandwagon, then obviously I think we would be just one also ran. So I think we have capacity, we have potential, and we should certainly explore that. My, as I said, endeavor would be to take the research agenda forward, because that's where the importance, that's where I think creating new knowledge, establishing facts, and then of course application of these facts is where I think we really need to focus on. And I'm glad that some things are happening, but we need to do more. And actually teaching and research, I think it is complementary, it's all interlinked. We cannot say as a university or as a college, we are primarily involved in teaching. I mean, when we say teaching, the rigor of research can help improve the teaching. The evidence that we gather when we are doing any research studies will strengthen our knowledge foundation. So I just said that I think as a teacher, we have to innovate. As a teacher, we have to communicate. As a teacher, we have to do presentation. And as a scientist, we have to be inquisitive. As a scientist, we have to be, I think, being methodical, and then do some evidence-based thing, and then of course disseminate that. So I think both of these things are very complementary, and as a teachers, we cannot say that, okay, my responsibility is only teaching, or as a researcher, my responsibility is only about doing something there in the labs or maybe in the community, depending on that. So I think it's all complementary, and as I said, what better place than Bharati Vidyapeeth to maybe take this forward. And I'm sure that with very senior scientists here, with such a support, with a proactive management, I think we will be able to make strides in this little bit of a area where I feel that we have potential to do more. I won't say we are lagging, but we certainly have potential to do more. So on that note, once again, I welcome you all. I see very distinguished faculty. Just a small connection which I would like to emphasize. I was in Cordially University before. Dr. Gaudar is here, and at Cordially we had this very well-established maternal and newborn health unit, which was recognized, or which is recognized by the WHO. Here we have a maternal and newborn unit which is recognized by ICMR. So I think my linking, at least I can say, with the maternal and newborn unit continues, whether I was in Cordially or whether I am in Bharati. And I think I would certainly feel that, again, in this area also, we can create more opportunities and have some collaborating. I think Dr. Gaudar in his presentation, I'm sure will share, they're doing a lot of international community-based work which is there, and how we are doing our work here, and how we can complement each other and work together. So we certainly can explore these areas. As I said, if I can facilitate it in any way, I'll be more than happy to do so. And what I can say is that these 2 days are going to be really meaningful for all the participants. You have an opportunity to interact with the experts. You have an opportunity to network, have little, informal discussions, and get enriched on the latest developments in this area. So once again, welcoming all the distinguished dignitaries, guests here, the invited resource faculty, and the friends, young colleagues. So wishing you all the very best, and have a very memorable 1.5 day, 2 day conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I now request Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Vivek Savji, and all the other dignitaries to please release the abstract book of the 22nd SNEHA MRC International Workshop on DOHaD. Thank you, everyone. I now request Dr. Sadhana Joshi to propose vote of thanks.
Good morning to all of you. It's a great pleasure to propose the vote of thanks here. At the outset, I'd like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Sauji, for having made time to come for this small inaugural function. And he has been a big support to us in helping us organize this conference. So thank you very much, sir. I'd like to also thank Professor Caroline Fall, Dr. Yajnik for having allowed me to organize this prestigious SNEHA meet. My colleagues and friends in the SNEHA group, Dr. Chandak, Dr. Kumaran, Dr. Krishnaveni have been equally contributing to help us organize this. Dr. Bharati Kulkarni for having come all the way from Delhi. And ICMR has been a big support to us, and they have helped us in the whole ICMR Center for Advanced Research, for which we are very thankful. So thank you, Dr. Bharati. Dr. Anamika Gambhir also, we have got a lot of grants from DBT. Thank you, Dr. Anamika. And also, I would not want to forget our senior members, Dr. Poddar and Dr. Anand Pandit, who make SNEHA more lightning, and it's really fun when they are around with all their key inputs that they give. And all the senior colleagues from our university, Registrar Sir, Patel Sir, who have come here, and Dr. Lalwani, as Dr. Mishra mentioned, has always been the man that we go to whenever there's any problem. And I'm very happy to say within a minute, everything gets solved. So at the last, I would like to also thank our administration, Dr. Gowde and all his group in the administration for helping us organize this, and all my friends and colleagues at IRSHA, who have really played a vital role in helping us in this. So thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. We now conclude the inauguration program, and I request everyone to join for tea and snacks. Thank you. Excuse 1 second.
Excuse me, I'm going to take 1 more minute between you and the breakfast. Many of you seem to be drooping eyelids, but very alert ears. So in the program, I don't see any valedictory function, but I consider, as usual, self-appointedly, that it is my duty to express gratitude to 3 people here. And since you are getting up, I'll request all of you to give a standing ovation to Dr. Sauji, Dr. Mishra, and Dr. Sadhana Joshi. You all may be seated and we will stand. Okay? So this is a bit of my contribution to her. Thank you. Because she didn't allow me to speak anything else.